Aloha class. This video is to go over in class assignment 22. So usually chapter 9 is a pretty straightforward chapter when we look at ROI, margin, and turnover. And so you should follow the PowerPoint. So name 2 advantages of decentralized organizations and 2 disadvantages. If you pull up that chapter 9 PowerPoint, it'll have your benefits or advantages in slide 4 and your disadvantages in slide 5. So I'm assuming that you can find those okay and fill those out. So I just want 2, although 4 are listed. It says to write down the formulas for, let's double check what it says, for ROI, margin, and turnover, and the formula for residual income, which is a little bit looking forward for the next time's homework. So you'll put down these formulas. I'm going to have you calculate number 5 on your own. Usually students don't really struggle with this concept, so you have the formulas, you're going to calculate number 5, and then the ROI and the residual income has multiple choice answers, and then I'm going to calculate number 6 for you in this video. And so margin times turnover can give you ROI. Residual income, let's put that one in here. Residual income is net operating income minus the average operating assets times by the minimum required rate of return. And so average can just help you if you have a lot of assets in one year and then not as many in the next year. So maybe you've sold off some assets, so you can average 2 years. And the minimum required rate of return. So for example, if you are borrowing money from the bank and it's at a 6% rate, you probably don't want to make an investment that gives you a 5% return, because it doesn't really make sense to lend money and put it in an investment that is not going to give you that same amount of return. So usually we have a threshold in any investing opportunity that we get into that we have a specific required rate of return. So it has to be, if we're lending at 6%, if we have taken out a loan and we have to pay back the bank at 6%, we should probably have a minimum required rate of return of greater than 6%. And so this is just set by the company to ensure that they're getting the required rate of return that they want to. So it can be anywhere from, I would say, probably 8 to 20%. So it just depends on what the company is requiring. What do they need to make in order to feel comfortable with a specific investment, or feel like they're meeting their benchmarks or standards or key performance indicators. And so let's go back to the problem. The division's margin. So margin equals NOI. Margin equals NOI over sales. So I'll look at my NOI, which is 210,000. 210,000 divided by sales, which is, let's see, last year the division had total sales of 6 million. 6 million. And so I can do 210,000 divided by 6 million. And that'll give me 0.035, or if you did 0.035 times it by 100, that could give you your percentage. And so it'd be 3.5%. So our return on our margin, what we're making, NOI over sales, is 3.5%. The turnover, how efficiently are we using our assets, would be 6 million. And then I need to find my average operating assets, which is 1.5 million. So 6 million divided by 1.5 million. You could also do this in Excel, since you do have Excel now. So that would be 4. So they turn over 4 times a year, and so I could times 3.5 times it by 4. So I'll do 4 times it by 3.5%, which would be 0.035. 0.035. That would be 14%. Or if you wanted to cut out the sales, so these sales do cancel each other out. If you just wanted ROI, you could do net operating income divided by average operating assets. 210,000 divided by 1.5 million. Hopefully you can see all this okay. 210,000 divided by 1.5 million. and it's that 0.14, which is 14% ROI. The division's residual income, so that would be NOI minus your average operating assets times by the required rate of return. So you should have written down that formula on the front side of your page. NOI minus, make sure you do this parentheses, so order of operation for math, you should do average operating assets times by minimum required rate of return, and then after you calculated that, then you can do net operating income minus your what you got in the parentheses. So NOI would be 210,000 minus AOA 1.5 million times the required rate of return. So if this specific company has a required rate of return of 14%, so I'll remember that 14%. So they require 14%, and the ROI is 14% as well. So knowing that they're equal here, let's see what happens. So I'll do 14%. Well, maybe I'll clear it out. 14% times it by 1.5 million, 210,000. So this inside the parentheses equal 210,000. 210,000 minus 210,000 will give me 0. Why did that happen? So my residual income is 0, which means that a residual income of a positive means that you're making more than your required rate of return. But this project had an ROI of 14%, but we require 14%, and so that's why we have 0 residual income. We are meeting that 14%, but we're not exceeding the 14%. And so ROI is just, residual income just another indicator of performance that's a little bit different from ROI, but we can see that our residual income was 0 on this one, and so that would be your answer here.